Today we're going to discuss in your measurement skills packet the measurement metric of volume using the base unit of liters. So just to go over on your sheet, once again, volume is the amount of space that something occupies. It could be a solid or it could be a liquid. Usually it's a liquid that we utilize in science, whether we're measuring chemicals, water, or something else. We know that the largest unit is the kiloliter, the hectoliter, the deciliter, the base unit of liters, then the deciliter, the centiliter, and the milliliter. We have glassware that we will be utilizing to measure the volume of different amounts of liquids or chemicals. So right here over here are the beakers. So we have a 600 milliliter beaker, we have a 250 milliliter beaker, and a 50 milliliter beaker. These are pretty much the standard ones we'll be using this year. The great thing about the beakers is they do have a lip for careful pouring. We also have graduated cylinders. We have 3 different types of graduated cylinders, one of which is the 10 milliliter graduated cylinder. It's very small. We have the 25 milliliter graduated cylinder and the 100 milliliter graduated cylinder. You may notice here on the top, these are called bumpers. Basically, the point of the bumper is, for instance, on accident, you may tip the graduated cylinder over, and the point of the bumper is so it catches on the surface so it doesn't break the glass. Sometimes it works and sometimes it doesn't work. So it is not used to actually go to the actual measurement as some people think it would. So we always keep it at the top. The reason why this one does not have one is usually the bumper weighs more than the graduated cylinder, so it would just tip over. Each line on here represents 0.2 milliliters going up to 10 milliliters. So 0.2, 0.4, 0.6, 0.8, and 1 milliliter. Each line on here represents 0.5 milliliters. So we have 10, 10.5, 11, 11.5 milliliters. And then each line on here represents 1 milliliter. It's really important that you know what each line represents so you get an accurate measurement. And then last but not least, our Erlenmeyer flask. Our Erlenmeyer flask is usually utilized to mix some chemicals together. So we will utilize that as well this year. So a couple things about how we measure with the glassware. So the first thing we do is taking a look at how we appropriately use the glassware. So to get a measurement, let's say that I am going to pour the green water into this graduated cylinder. And let's say that I do this and I say, oh, Mrs. Ryan, I think it's about maybe 40 milliliters.
But Mrs. Tracy, you should always measure on eye level.
Oh, I totally forgot. So what you need to do is you need to go down eye level. Yes, eye level. It is crouching down and taking a look and making sure you get the appropriate measurement. So that would be approximately 40 milliliters of the green liquid. It's just water and food coloring. Next is pouring on a level surface. So some of you like to do this.
But Mrs. Tracy, you should always pour on a flat surface.
Oh my goodness, how could I forget? The reason being is obviously we don't want anything to splash, irritate your skin, and it's much safer to pour on a level surface with the lip. That's the purpose of the lip, to pour nice and slow. Of course, if you make a mistake, you can always carefully pour it back into the other container. And then the last is the meniscus readings. So your liquids sometimes cling to the glassware a little bit uniquely, in which we have 3 different types of meniscus readings. The 3 different types of meniscus readings are flat, concave, and convex. Most of the liquids that we use this year are either going to be a flat read or concave. Probably in 7th and 8th grade you'll start using convex. So once again, this is flat, And where you take your measurement at eye level, as Mrs. Ryan reminded us, is anywhere that it is eye level. So it doesn't matter where you take the measurement because it's flat or level. The next is what we call concave. And sometimes the liquid takes a little dip down, almost like a cave. And what we do is we take the reading in the glassware from the lowest point, because that's where most of the liquid is. So that's why eye level reading is so very important. And then sometimes we have convex with very thick liquids, sometimes like molasses or corn syrup. And what happens is it forms kind of like this bubble, and we take the measurement from the very top where most of the liquid is. So right now we're going to have you practice some pouring and talk about how we actually measure in volume, either if it's a regular volume or an irregular shaped volume.